Hi, I'm Terry Stewart, postdoc in the Center for Theoretical Neuroscience. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but hopefully this will work. Um, what I want to talk about is one of the biggest problems I have with research, with my own research, and that is that I consistently forget to actually do the math. What do I mean by that? I mean, there's lots of situations where I rely on my own instincts and intuitions in situations where I really should just be using math to figure out what the right answer is. I've got two examples of this. The first one, so I'm a cognitive scientist, so I try to build computer simulations and figure out the algorithms about what's going on inside the brain. So that normally means I've got some sort of interesting idea. I take that about what's going on in the brain. I take that idea, implement that as a computer program, run the program, observe what the behavior is, compare it to reality, and hopefully it's, oh, yay, it's a good match to reality. Great. That means I'm on the right track. And generally, since brains are pretty complicated, it means the algorithms that I'm looking at are pretty complicated. In particular, they're complicated so they're not analytically tractable, which means generally there's no point in me doing the math. There's no way to analytically figure out what's going to happen. I have to just run the computer program multiple times, change parameter settings, see what happens. And so that's normally what I do. And then what I do, I often forget that that's not always the case. So there was one research paper I did a few years ago where I was looking at this decision-making algorithm playing rock, paper, scissors. And it had this really nifty learning rule in it that would sort of keep track what the opponent was doing in the rock, paper, scissors game. And it adjusted its actions in some complicated way based on what the opponent did. And there was this, I ran the simulation with lots of different parameter settings, and it turned out there was this whole range where like it worked really well, and it started like doing a really good job of playing rock, paper, scissors against various opponents. And so I was all excited, and I wrote up this paper and submitted it, and a reviewer pointed out that even though the algorithm was pretty complicated, it turned out if I'd just done a little bit of math on it, the whole thing simplified down and basically just turned into the algorithm. If your opponent is predictable, then do what will beat what the opponent is going to do, which is way less exciting than I thought it would be, and just made the entire paper useless, or at least could have been summarized in one paragraph. So that was kind of embarrassing. So that's one thing to watch out for. A second example that I think is a little bit more common, and sort of is something that I see myself doing almost on a day-to-day basis. So I have some computer program. Maybe it's a cognitive model. Maybe it's just any computer program. I'll make a change to the computer program, and it gets better. Maybe it's faster, it's more accurate, or it matches human performance better. Cool, it's all right. So I made that change. I'm happy with that change. I keep going. And now hold on a second. What mistake have I just made here? In particular, how did I know that it got better? So with the description I just gave, well, all I did is I ran it and measured something, and the number got larger or smaller, whatever it was that I was measuring. But what I didn't do is I didn't check if it's consistent. What if I run it again? Do I get the same improvement? And one way to think about what's happening here is just sort of statistically, if I take a program and I run it twice, what are the chances that whatever it is that I'm measuring is above, both times I ran it, was it above average? Or below average, for that matter. Well, if I run it twice, there's a 25% chance that both runs were above average, 25% chance that both runs were below average. So really, there's a 50% chance that even though I've run the program twice, the number that I've got is, outside, is either above or below average. Both of the runs are either above or below average. If I want to know what the average is, I need to run it more times. And really, I need to probably run it at least, if I want to be 95% certain that, all of my runs weren't above average or below average, I've got to run it like 6 times. That's really uncommon. Really, what I should be doing is I should be doing a t-test. But I find it incredibly hard to consistently force myself to actually do that. And so this causes a lot of problems in research, because I'll make a change to my program, and it looks like it's getting better, or maybe it looks like it's getting worse. I make the change to my program, and go, oh shoot, that didn't work. I'll change it back, and then go on and try to do other stuff. But I don't actually know that it's gotten worse unless I've done these stats. And I've spent weeks trying to improve a program and not realizing that the thing that I tried first was actually a really good improvement. I just got unlucky when testing it. So my basic point is there's lots of situations where math is really useful. Sometimes it does turn out that even though your model is really complex, bits of it can be analytically tractable, and you can actually, if you can notice that and figure it out, then that greatly helps the research. And I tend to not even look for it. It's a problem. And even if it is so complex that it's not analytically tractable, tons of times when I'm measuring things about what my program is doing, I need to be really careful about statistics and actually do the math to find out whether or not I'm making things better. Thank you very much. Enjoy the day.